I don't know what I did with it. What's going on right now? Would help if I could type. There you go. Just bear with me, guys. For my Virgy Virgs. I can't wait too long because I have a workshop right after, but I will be able to do one more. And then tomorrow's the accountability. We'll see how that day goes. I have an appointment, a couple appointments too. We do what we can. It just is what it is. Learning, it's okay. $9:48. Okay. It gives me 1 hour. No messing around today. Can I have a gratitude card for my Virgos for the month of February? A way to show up with a little more gratitude. Thankful for themselves, the people around them, the little miracles going on in their lives every single day. How can they show just a little bit more gratitude in their everyday life? That's the one, eh? What do we got? When you recognize and reflect on even one good thing about yourself, you're building a bridge to a place of kindness and caring. Yeah, you got to start small sometimes, and it's okay. 9:49 on the clock. We got to end out those negative thoughts to get those, to build that bridge so you can move forward with the positive thinking, get a better perspective. Write down one of your favorite traits about yourself. Celebrate you the way you love this about yourself. Welcome, dances. Sometimes it starts small. And if you start with one and you find that one good thing about yourself, then find another and another. And I swear, even though sometimes it feels hard and you're unsure of how to kind of do it, when you start finding that one thing about yourself, you add to the list, it gets bigger. It gets way, way bigger. But sometimes you got to start with one. Well, when we stop showing up for ourselves and celebrating those strengths in us, those great qualities about us, we lose them along the way. Welcome, Clarence and Maria. And the last thing we want to do is do that, because if you're still here today, you're still breathing, then there's definitely some good qualities in you, because God believes you needed to be here. So don't ever take from yourself. Celebrate yourself as much as you can and find those good things. One more thing for self-love, self-care. And it's wild because the energy has been feeling a little heavy today. It feels kind of heavy. And what I feel like when you feel kind of weighed down or a little bit heavy, it's because usually you're putting way more pressure on yourself than you need to. And a really great way to stop doing that is to start with those things you really like about yourself. It's okay to be proud. Good morning, Chip. How are you? I hope you're doing good. Here, hold on. Let me get you a jacket. There we go. I hope you're doing well. We're talking about Virgos this morning. And like I said, the energy feels a little heavy this morning. And that's okay because it usually just means you're processing some stuff, and that's good. Um, the first one was when you recognize and reflect on even one good thing about yourself, you're building a bridge to a place of kindness and caring. Write down one of your favorite traits about yourself. Celebrate why you love this about yourself. Sometimes when things feel heavy, it's because it's meant for you to pause with something and sit. All is well. I hope you're having an awesome day so far. I am. I'm always having an awesome day because I recognize that sometimes, even in the heaviness, there's things that you're meant to process. And I don't feel like this is my energy because I feel okay, but I feel the heaviness, and I think that uh, with the Leo new moon just coming, just passing through, I should say. Welcome, Eden and Faye. With it just passing through, that's the release, right? So always in a full moon, you're releasing stuff, and then when the new moon comes, you're rebuilding and letting new things in. So that's kind of go. There's much. It's much more in depth than that, but it's about as basic as it can be explained. And what happens when you're releasing something? It's usually a negative thought, a person, place, thing, but almost always it's a negative thought process. And I think what's going on here is Virgos is trying to figure out uh, the good things about themselves, and they're trying to figure out what they are so they can stay focused on them. And that's a great place to be because once you learn it and you understand it and you start adding to that list, you start to see that there's actually a lot of amazing things. But that initial moment, figuring it out and starting to trust that those things matter, can feel very heavy in the beginning. Add your nickname. Welcome, Crosby and Shelley. Welcome. So, what luck or fate, instinct or grace brought me here, in shade beneath the hidden stars? The world does not begin and end with what you have known of it. There's so much deliciousness you've yet to discover, and it's exactly it. When you start focusing in and saying, I see me, right? Then you start to trust yourself and you start to see how much you actually are deserving of all the wonderful things in life. Sometimes we let it slip because we're like, oh, I'm not worthy. Oh, I'm this. And it's called imposter syndrome. And every person, if you're still breathing, you're worthy. And I think that that feeling kind of gets heavy sometimes in all of us. But when we can reflect back and we can find those amazing things about ourselves and really start celebrating them, it gets a lot less heavy. So, Cornelius, welcome, and Sabrina, welcome. It feels heavy for a moment, but it's meant for you to sit there, not to wallow in it, but to understand that you don't need to feel that way because you once you start seeing those beautiful things that are within you, noticing the wonderful traits, your amazingness, and you start adding them up, all of a sudden it gets lighter and lighter, right? It has to get lighter because nobody has just one great thing. We have so many, so many, right? And once you start to see that list grow, it's also going to lift you up in ways that you can't even begin to imagine. Mac Pock, welcome. And Leclat, welcome. And then, of course, now you should start getting excited, right? There's so much more just deliciousness. I don't know why I can't say that word left to explore, right? You're just at the stage in your life where you've kind of released all the bad, right? Like, I don't even want to say bad because things just are, but you've released the negative and you understood that uh, it all brought you here. So at the end of the day, looking at it or looking to it like it's a negative thing uh, is the wrong way to look at it because it taught you what you could already overcome because you're here, right? You're here. You made it. You overcame it. Now you're learning to let it go. You don't have to wear it like a badge of honor. You can just trust that that's one of your most amazing qualities. You don't give up. You show up every single day. Now you're learning how to get excited about every single day. Um, And that process, yeah, it starts feeling heavy. But I promise you, when you start adding up all those characteristics and those traits about yourself, start with one. And yes, sometimes we got to start small, small, small. But the more you build that, make that list of you, the more you start to see yourself. And you know the best thing to do when you start writing your list, and yes, write it down. Write it down because it makes you a little more accountable, makes you a little more proud. And yes, it's okay to be proud. Not too prideful to learn, but proud. Gut Benny, welcome. Good morning. And Miss Loyalty, welcome. The reason I'm saying it like I am is because when you're someone who uh, is unsure of what the great things are, but you're trying to figure it out, it's easy to disregard those small little things because you didn't write it down. But writing it down does two things. One, it sets it in stone, right? This is who I am. This I do love this about myself. Two, it makes you more accountable. This is that who I am. This is I love this about me. So what are you going to do? You're going to stand more accountably. You're going to treat yourself a little better and all the people around you a little better because you recognize these qualities in yourself. It's going to lift you up in ways that you can't even imagine. And every time you start to question or worry or wonder, it's something to look back on. Write it down. Celebrate yourself. Be proud of yourself. You're releasing some tough stuff. You're making room and that void. And I talk about it in the fire and flow part. Is I want to say I think it's called the still point. I could be wrong. It's in one of my playlists, the fire and flow playlist, and I'm pretty sure it's the still point. I could be wrong, but I got to learn how to link it on the bottom of these. But if you feel called and things start feeling heavy, go watch that one because that one we talk about peeling back the layers and understanding. But that void, it starts feeling heavy for a moment because you've released a lot of stuff. You've let it go. And for just a moment, there's this space where you have to sit in that emptiness. And that emptiness is actually a really great space because it allows you to regenerate, it clears out, it allows you to reprogram, reprocess, and come from a more positive perspective. But that empty space can feel really hollow and kind of heavy at first. But if you can just get past that initial kind of awkwardness, because that's what it felt like for me too when I came into this um, reading, which is what tells me because it's lightening and it feels better and it just reminds me so much of that void space. Uh, and this is preparation. What I flipped was also angel number 12. So have a look if you like doing homework. If one of these angel numbers sticks with you, there's a reason. Preparation. Luck comes most often to the person and the place where preparation, opportunity, and skill meet. That void, that still point, that empty space that feels kind of a little bit heavy, it's what you're doing. You're preparing, you're manifesting. Soon you may manifest the goal you focus spiritual energies upon. Angel number 37. You're learning that still point isn't meant to be heavy. It feels awkward because you haven't had it. You've had chaos and all kinds of other stuff your whole life. So when that's your place of peace. That is your space. That's your manifestation point. And yes, it's scary at first and it's awkward. But you've let go of the negativity. You're not manifesting more negativity. You've cleared it out and you've now made room for the good stuff and the generosity. You can afford to be generous with the gift of your time and attention. You're learning how to show up for yourself. And yes, for yourself. I'm not talking about being generous for other people, which it comes inherently once you do what you need to do. Angel number 36. If any of these numbers stick with you, go look it up. There'll be a little answer to that nagging question in the back of your mind. You're learning how to answer these questions, figure out those great parts of you, celebrate those traits that actually bring you joy about yourself, the things that make you proud. You're being generous with yourself instead of giving it to everybody else. You're learning what that void is for. You're preparing your manifestations. You're preparing them. Doesn't mean that they're coming yet, but you're understanding what they are. You're trusting that if I released all this stuff and I made room, this yucky, weird, awkward space is starting to lighten because I recognize I can fill it with all of my great qualities, with the things I actually want in my life, and I can start getting excited for the things that are to come. Yes, it takes some work. Yes, it can be frustrating. There's lots of things, okay? Keeping yourself out of that negativity, um, focusing forward, preparing for the things that are coming. You're not just saying it's never going to come. You're saying, no, I'm preparing for it because I made room for it. I've done the work. I'm preparing for it. I made room. Now I'm going to get excited and I'm going to start celebrating and I'm going to fill space with positive things, right? Angie and Sam and Red's Girl, welcome. It's a good space. It's a really good space to be in. It's still at that little awkward point, feels a little weird, and it's okay. Question it. If anything, when you start feeling that kind of awkwardness, say, why does this feel so awkward? Is it hurting me? Does it make me feel sick? Ask all these questions. Check in with your body. Be present. And then it says, surrender to the divine. Understand that you're building, you're making room for your connection. Your hard work is paying off. Do you understand? It's paying off. That space means that you've been doing the work. Should I unblock Akash? I don't know, but if you're playing the block unblock thing, it's probably you're in game mode. You're not in conversation mode. So don't unblock anybody unless you're actually going to have a conversation. And if that's some childish stuff, then you're never going to get anywhere forward because there's no communication, there's no trust, there's no anything. So be realistic with yourself. And if there's this conversation that needs to be had, then have it. And if they're not willing to have it, okay. Then if you tried, then you let it go, walk away. If they choose not to, that's your protection. That's it. Welcome, Finn. Cody, welcome. And then it says, show the world the real you. You've been preparing. You've been in your cocoon. You've been learning how to sort through. I don't think you're jumping to show, like you're not bursting out with your new thing. I think you're still in the cocoon, and I think you're in that void space. But you're understanding that it's okay to be vulnerable. You're understanding that it's okay to just be yourself and not have to feel bad for it. Welcome, Melissa. Is the void feeling lighter already? I bet it is, even just hearing this, because I think what makes it feel the most heavy is not understanding what it means, especially when you know you've been doing the work. When you've been doing work like that and you feel like kind of heavy and that space, you feel alone, right? And it's okay because that space is meant for you to be alone. That's where you connect with the divine, and that's where you get to hear those nudges from your highest best self, from your angels, telling you, showing you where you need to be. But if you can't get quiet and you can't have that void space, you're never going to get to that, and you're to that. So you've been doing the work. Don't rush so much to get out of it just yet. Just understand that when you sit in it long enough and you understand the amount of energy that you store up, good energy that you store up, make space that actually allows you, when you, it's like it's like a slingshot, right? It pulls you back. You're in the void. You're preparing, you're understanding, you're focusing, you're learning, you're trusting, you're getting excited, you're manifesting, you're saying all these wonderful good things about yourself, and you're getting so excited, and you're finding your purpose, and you're stepping out, and you don't even know all of the purpose, but you're finding a step, and you're really excited about it, and it's going to work. And then boom, it lets go, and that energy has just been stored up this whole time, and you just go like a rocket. And that's pretty exciting. You're not at the rocket yet. You're still in the void stage, right? You're in that stage where you're letting it build, you're starting to understand, you're processing, you're understanding that you've let go of all that stuff, and you're sitting in that void space and you're learning how to use that to your advantage instead of feeling uncomfortable. And that's pretty amazing. Jizzle Monroe and Angie, welcome. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. Earth. Angel number 62. If you like homework, oh, look, I flipped right to it. All right. Learning how to be human in a world, but not of it. The challenge for all souls having a human experience is to be in the world, but not of it. To realize they are souls having a human experience and be fully conscious of it. To have their soul fully embody their body. People's personalities tend to relate to other transcendence or immanence. Those who lean toward transcendence have a longing for the heavens and the metaphysical. They yearn for a personal experience with God and to be lost in the heavens. They're envious of the angels and are more comfortable praying and hanging out in the stars than on earth. Those who tend toward immanence have attached themselves more to earth and their body. They spend more time thinking about the things in the physical world rather than connecting with the heavens or their own mystical inner worlds. Being a fully embodied soul having a human experience means finding the balance between the transcendence and immanence, being in the world but not of it. Most starseeds are drawn towards transcendence. They're more comfortable with the angels and the heavens. Life on earth can be more difficult for them. If this is you, you're being reminded that you chose to be a soul in a body on earth, and you're being called to focus more of your energies in the physical world. To learn how to be human, a soul in a human body, fully present to what life on earth has to offer you. Do you tend to long for the stars or be more in the physical? How can you find greater balance between the two? And that's exactly what's happening, right? You're learning how to find that balance. That void isn't punishment. That void is literally teaching you how to balance it. It's okay to be in your mind. It's okay to connect with spirit. It's the best thing you can ever do. But when you can bring spirit with you and ground it into earth in all of your matters that you're doing every single day, being more accountable, loving yourself, finding the great things about yourself, celebrating, taking actionable steps toward those goals that you want, even if they're small baby steps, you're bringing it, you're grounding it into earth. And what you'll also find is when you don't stay so much in the stars, um, and you learn to ground that and you learn to connect and find closer to that balance, you're always connected to source. It doesn't come one day and disappear another day. It's always there, just like walking and breathing. And I have different beliefs than other people, I guess, but I pray all the time. I'm a walking prayer. Everything I do, I have conversations with God every single day, all day, all day. Anything that's going on, and I say thank you for the smallest little things. I never stop saying thank you. I say thank you to myself now too. I actually was told, because I was saying thank you to them, saying thank you to the universe so much. They're like, "Are you ever going to thank yourself? Because you show up, right?" And we forget that part. You know, we do. We owe everything to God. We owe everything to the universe. But at the end of the day, we couldn't connect to them if we didn't choose to show up. So the fact that you're learning how to do that, you're learning how to show up, you're learning how to sit in that void and prepare and understand exactly what it means for you. You're learning how to manifest from a place of love and pure intentions, not a place of anger and resentment and all those negative things. You've let those go. That little heavy, awkward feeling void is starting to lighten. It's not feeling so heavy anymore. And you're understanding that that void is actually a little cocoon that is your safe space where you can mirror yourself, where you can talk to the universe, where you can have your answers answered to you, your questions answered to you. You're in a really good space. This is the one, eh? Inner temple and transformation. Yeah. I don't know if you can see them, but inner temple and transformation. That's where the transformation comes, going inward. You're not looking outward for the answers anymore. You're trusting that the answers, if you need them, you're going to go inward. And you also know that the only way to hear God is to understand your own voice. You're going to be extremely confused at who's telling you what when you don't even understand your own voice, right? Hi, Dr. Stella. How are you? Good morning. Hold on, let me get you a jacket here. I almost got this down to a science. We're talking about the Virgos this morning. And I guess, yeah, it's still morning over here. I'm really great. I'm excited. I was feeling a little heavy when I first started this. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks, right? But as I started the reading, I kind of understood. Virgos are they're in the still point, right? They're just sitting in that void where you've released all the negativity, you've kind of let it go, um, the negative thought processes, and you're in that space that you emptied out of all that stuff that you had to get rid of. And it feels kind of heavy at first when you're like, uh, you don't know how to fill it up yet. You're not quite sure, and it's not time to fill up. It's time to just check out. Hi, Harley. How are you? It's that time to just sit in it, and that's where you get to prepare and manifest and start loving yourself. Right? Holy, start celebrating all of your good parts. So it felt heavy for a quick second. Welcome, Real Talk. It felt heavy for a quick second, and once I started the reading, I understood exactly why. Uh, that Virgos are learning the difference, right? They're learning to understand that void, that emptiness is actually the best place to be because it's your 0 point. It's your point for manifestation. And you're very welcome. Hi, Gervais Trinidad in the house. Hello, how are you? Can I help you with something? I can try, but um, I give advice. That's about all I can do. Inner temple, let me see. I don't commit myself until I know what the question is. First of all, I never oblige myself until I know what's going on. But you can ask, would I see the financial benefits soon of what? That's a very, very vague question. And if we're just trying to get rich, that's what financial benefits, because that could be you have to be very specific when you ask, because you could say, is my business going to make money? Yeah, okay, it could make $5. So be very clear with what you're asking. No, not that, like seeing my way. I don't know what that means. Would I see the financial benefits soon? Not that, like seeing my way. I don't know what that means. Like, are you looking for your abundance? Are you going to make money soon? Are you working? You have a business? Like, are you going to be making money soon? So if you don't have a business yet and you're not working, how are you wanting to make money? I'm missing a point there. Well, how are you going to have your own staff if you're not working or got your own business? You got to start with your foundation and move your way out. I'm not saying don't start a business, but uh, yeah, you gotta step out the opposite. Figure out what it is you want, because you can't just say, "Am I going to make money soon?" It's I can shuffle the cards, and I 1000% guarantee you it's going to come out with World or the work you put in, like Seven of Pentacles, or even you got to figure out the plan, right? You gotta decide what it is you want. I don't know, if you're a Virgo, it would make sense kind of what you're feeling right now, because that's what we're talking about here. You're sitting in that void. You're not knowing how to make that money. You're not. Um, I do. But mine are oracle cards, and I do. Or would get a rock soon? I work. Would I get a work soon? Well, you're gonna work if you're applying. You're gonna get a job. So yeah, I read cards. I do oracles, and the reason I do oracles because people get very confused. They want me to tell them their future, and first of all, if you have to ask me about your future, then something's a little bit off. Second, anyone that tells you they can tell you your future is way off. I read the energy. And when I ask about the energy, I'm never asking about somebody else. When I ask about the energy, it's the way we can show up in a better manner for ourselves. So the way the planets align each month, the way the signs are, the way our sun sign, our moon sign, our rising signs are, we can, what's the best way to put it? We have little spaces of time where maybe it's a little easier to focus more on action, where it's focus more inward, where being more accountable, where we can, um, be a little bit more emotional and ask those deeper questions because we're feeling a little more strong, be a little more prideful, things like that. Uh, Pride, but in a good way, not like so prideful we can't learn. So I like to focus my energy on how I can help people show up and be more accountable, more loving, more understanding to themselves, um, and focus that on these months where it's a little bit easier for them to dig a little deeper on those things for healing and accountability. So moving forward, no matter what their future is, they're going to master it because they're actually healing their inner selves and they're empowering themselves along the way. So, and I will answer questions sometimes. I'll pull tarot for people, but only if they're usually like ones where I've been putting in the work, I've been doing this, and I'm just wondering, is it coming soon? But honestly, when it comes to that kind of energy, the moment I tell you the answer, right, it's going to decide on how you move forward. So if I say yes to you and then you're like, yeah, but I don't really want that, you're going to change your energy and do something different. And when we understand that energy changes, it's ever going. Energy is always in motion, right? Like emotion, energy, emotion, it's always changing. So one simple decision, one small choice changes it all the way at any given moment. But when we fix the inner self and we heal from that aligned point, um, there's sometimes an easier way to kind of get in there and dig in and go a little bit deeper in our healing where it's less painful, it's less hard work because the planetary alignment kind of allows us that space to do it in a more just a more friendly manner. It's a little easier to handle. So I do it each month where these are the kind of things like right now, Virgo. Um, they're learning to understand that void. They've done the work. They've been creating this void, right? So when you release all the negative stuff, like the programming, you have to unlearn all of that stuff and relearn. I went no contact with my parents. The hardest decision for me. Still working on healing. Yes, that stuff. It takes. I don't talk to my family either, and it's heartbreaking. But at the same time, it was very traumatic, and lots of things happened. And when I tried to stand up and say, or even find a center, it doesn't work well. Chris Lee, good morning. Um, and don't ever question yourself on that because it takes two, right? And if they're not trying, I've always left the door open. So if they wanted to step up and put forth the effort, then we could find a compromise. But at the end, how are you? Oh, I got to get you a jacket. Hold on. And what am I trying to say? Like, you never feel you can't feel guilty for that. You have your children, you have your family, and you have to understand. So, like, it was hurting my daughter, right? Those narcissistic tendencies, the constant can't win for losing opportunities was causing such dysregulation in my daughter. And I was watching it, and I remembered how bad it hurt me, right? Small town girl, how are you? Good morning. So yeah. So, but you can't, and you just got to release it. And like, you could either let them continue texting or just hit the block button. And if you're not prepared to deal with it, but there comes a point where you have to stand up for yourself, and part of that releasing sometimes feels leaves that inner empty hole, right? It feels like a space that's uh, because we're used to being guilted and shamed and all of those things. Um, and we shouldn't be. It's not okay, right? Like, we wouldn't do it to our kids. We wouldn't want to do that to our kids. So why is it okay for people to do it to us? And that's exactly like this. That's why you came in today, and it makes sense because you're aligning. um, Even if you're not a Virgo, you're aligning. And so my message is obviously anybody can be healing at any time, right? But usually Virgo is that kind of this is their space of what's going on. But when you get random people that come in with certain things in their message, it means that there's something that they were meant to hear. And that guilt trip thing, I went through so much punishment with that, and mine were actually a little worse because at the end of the day, they would call my jobs, have me lose my job. So I would lose all my stuff. So then I would have to go back to them, and I was like, "You're never gonna get ahead, and then you're horrible." It was bad. It was very, very bad. Um, and I had to put my foot down. And I let every time I've given the opportunity to open the floor, it came with the guilt and everything, and it was me, 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 and still guilty, making me feel guilty all the time. So I had to stop, right? And you're learning to process that and say, it's okay. I'm allowed to just say no. No is a full sentence. And uh, when you release that guilt, that shame, and that fear, it creates an empty space, right? And it does. It feels awkward and kind of heavy at first. Momo, Esther, Zahara, welcome. It feels kind of heavy at first. That doesn't mean it's bad, but at first it does. It feels heavy. And when I started this reading, I was like, oh, I don't like this, right? I don't like this feeling. But something told me, like, keep going because it's not over yet. And that's what it is. Like, you've created space in the inner temple. Sorry, this camera is horrible. You've created space in the inner temple, and you're learning that for you to prepare to do your manifestation and to start being generous with yourself, right? It's not about being generous about everyone else. Yourself and your kids and your husband and your beautiful family come first. Nobody else. I feel seen. The part, yeah. And when you let go of that weight, it feels weird, right? It feels kind of yucky. You almost want to feel guilty, but it's because that space is an empty space. But you know what happens in that empty space? It frees up time for you and your husband and your babies, right? It frees up time to watch them grow and not have to feel obligated. It frees up time to see all the beautiful, amazing things that you do in your life. It frees that time for you, right? So you can see the amazing things your husband has, your kids there. You can see their beautiful qualities as they're literally acquiring them, right? Yeah, you're filling that space slowly, very, very slowly. You're filling that space with love and joyous memories and things that matter, things that are worth prioritizing, things that are worth leaving everything behind for. And the difference is this cup that you're filling, this space, is being filled with so much love and so much joy, where before it was that guilt, fear, shame, obligation, all of these things, and it comes down to sometimes religious culture, stereotypes, you name it. There's all these things that are programs in the back of your mind. And when we release them, because there's that empty space, we don't know what to do with it, right? What the hell? Where, like, what am I doing with this? I feel not right. There's this empty space. It's just making room. It's just making room. And I promise you, I had to go through it, and I've mastered it. I've had to go through it multiple times. And every time I let the guilt, shame, and fear drag me back. And then I let them pull me down, weigh me down. And finally, when I saw it was actually hurting my daughter, it was causing her pain, and it was making me feel more and more guilt and shame. Uh, and she was always confused and couldn't step forward and couldn't be herself. I was like, no, like, I don't care. I will be the villain in the story. Like, uh, I could see what was happening to me as a kid, that trauma and all that stuff starting to happen to her. I just said no, and it was enough. And what you're understanding now is what's in this cup, what this space is for you and your family, the ones that matter, the ones that see you, the ones that understand you. Um, and you're filling your cup first, and it overflows into your husband, into your kids, right? You're not going from an empty cup, and you're not letting them fill this cup with resentment and anger and all those things, right? it feels weird and it feels awkward at first, but you're starting to love it. You're starting to understand, I get to see all of my beauty. I get to see my traits, the things that make me the most amazing person that I am, right? You're getting to see all those things. And then at the same time, you're starting to get excited because now this empty space, there's more room for better memories. There's more room to build your channel, to build something sustainable, to do all of the things that you've been wanting to do, those little adventures, the small things, watching your kids' first steps, those things are memories that uh, nobody can take from you. But those are memories that you'd much rather fill your cup up than shame or guilt or some obligation because you're supposed to do something someone else said. If you wouldn't make your kid do it, like hell are you gonna expect it from yourself, right? You wouldn't, and if your family's trying to do things like that, they're creating that. It's an anchor. They're pulling a tie to you, so you can't go out on your own, or to keep you stuck. And that's their own trauma, their own issues. They have to heal. We're not. It's not about resentment. It's not about anger. It's understanding they have their own struggles. But when you understand that. It's a lot easier to let go. And I think that's what happened. You learn how to let that go and focus on what is real to you and what matters to you. And you're learning that space is actually the greatest space, and it stops being so yucky, stops feeling so awkward, and it starts to feel like your little cocoon, right? And you've been building and you've been slowly doing it, and you've been creating this space, and you're learning in this space. This is where you're your best self. This is where your husband sees you, sees your queen, right? This is where your kids see their mama, and they see you, they admire you, they look up to you. um, this is where you manifest. This is where you're preparing all of your greatness. And it starts with you being generous to yourself. That space, that letting go of all that was meant to put you first. You put everyone else first your whole life. Now you're putting yourself first, and not your family, not anybody else. Okay, you, and then your kids and your husband first. And that space, this is your bubble, and you're understanding that cocoon allows you to heal, to love, and feel really good. You're not bursting out yet, but you're starting to understand that space is for you to process, let go, heal, and get excited. But the only way to get excited is because now you know what brings you joy, right? Vicky's creation, welcome. So I'm sure it felt pretty awkward and felt a little heavy, felt weird. And then you want to fill it with guilt because that's what you were taught to fill it with your whole life, right? The guilt, the shame, the obligation. But you learned to let it go. You finally released it. That space feels weird. It feels heavy. But when you start filling it with all your amazingness and all your great qualities, all of your knowledge, all of the things you've already earned and done, and then with your memories, your good memories, it fills up very quickly. And it fills up to overflow very quickly, but it's a solid foundation because it's all you. It's all you and what matters to you, your absolute most priority, right? Um, that's where your transformation happens. That's your inner temple. You're learning that the only way you're going to connect with God, the only way you're going to connect with anything that matters to you, your highest best self, is by checking in your inner temple. That void is meant exactly for that. And that's where the true transformation is. You've been doing the work, you've been showing up, you've been doing all of the things. I'm going to read the one. Sorry, I got sidetracked. I want to read that one, the inner temple, because it's important. But when you learning that space doesn't feel as yucky as it first did. And that space allows you to be you at your highest best self. And it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. And it means you did a lot of work to get there because you had to empty that out. So first and foremost, you need to pat yourself on the back, get yourself some flowers, put your feet up, and celebrate yourself because that work, the releasing, the programming, the shame, fear, obligation, all that is a mountain, and you already climbed that. So you need to celebrate that first and foremost. And then I'm going to read this inner temple. If I can find the number. Usually if I have to struggle so hard to find it, it means that it's a good number. Angel number 70, and that makes so much sense. That's the connection with spirit, right? 70 is Connection with source. And I love that. Okay, 70. I should have known immediately. Uh, you're being called to be a devoted student and tune into your heart, to incorporate true devotion into your life. You could be you could be being called to develop a regular meditation, journaling, or chanting practice, or to show up to your soul with rhythm, to develop a daily practice where you'll fill up your well and spend time with your soul. All of the answers to all of the questions that you are seeking are waiting for you in the portal of your heart, but you cannot hear them unless you carve out time each day to listen. Your soul is yearning for a deeper relationship with you, and so the more time you spend with it and show up to it, the more clearly it will guide you. We are here to grow as souls. Earth is one big playground for the soul to learn, and you're being called to go deeper in your soul growth or to increase your devotion by being a student of a lineage or a spiritual teacher. If you have already been a committed student, then you are being commended for your devotion. Your guides want you to know how proud of you they are and that the time you spend in devotion is priceless. If you are questioning your career or life path, your guides want you to turn your focus towards devotion and this prayer. Please use me in a way that delights my mind, body, and soul. May my life be one big moving prayer. Commit to a daily devotional. And that's what you're doing, right? You've made space. So now when you start connecting in that void, those flashes, those memories, good memories, uh, those ones that keep popping up that say, man, maybe I'd like to try that. Maybe this would interest me. And of course, you have many degrees. Uh, right. That space is amazing. And you've earned it. You've earned it. So now, next, will I get promoted this June? If you give me just 1 second, I will answer that one for you. Have you been putting in the work before I answer it for you? Have you been doing all the work? Uh, when you're in that space, it's okay to slow it down. But that space is where those hints come. Those things that kind of, and you may not be like, sometimes they're scary because a lot of times those questions that come, those suggestions, those flashes, this is your space where you're manifesting, right? So those flashes of inspiration that kind of say, maybe I'd like to try that. Those usually lead you to your purpose, right? So if you get that flash and something says, oh, I would like to try that, go try it. Don't stop yourself. Go try it. And maybe even if you don't master it right away, uh, maybe you have to go back a second or third time, but it brings you so much joy when you finish it or complete it. I promise you that's leading you directly to your purpose. And it's not always just one purpose. We have many. Don't tread on. Riza and Tish, welcome. Chestnut, will I get promoted this June? In June? Oh, you're putting a timeline on it? Never put a timeline on it. When you put that close of a timeline on it, you're micromanaging the universe. I will ask and I will hope the best for you, but you got to remember when you set yourself up for failure when you put it at a time, at an exact time, because we don't get it in our ego's time. Everything comes in God's divine timing. Um, and what that looks like for us definitely does not look the same ever as what the universe has. So never micromanage the universe. You put it out there exactly what you want. You take every actionable step that you can possibly do towards it. And then you say, okay, God, I leave it to you. I know I've put in the work. I've done the things. I've done the application. I've done whatever it is. And then I leave it to you. I will still ask for you, but I'm just saying maybe don't needle on the timeline so much, right? Don't layer it down to June. Maybe just focus on getting promoted. Trey Marie, hello, good morning. How are you? So yeah, what I'm trying to say is I really hope you do, especially if you've been putting in the work, but I don't want you staying so focused on June where you hinder yourself. It does say King of Cups, which is yes. And then it says the Five of Cups is under. So King of Cups, it says yes. And right beside it, has the Five of Cups that are left out in the cold, but it's upside down. So what this means is don't set yourself up for failure. Okay. Don't hold so tight to the timeline. Just like I was saying, Don't hold so tight to the timeline that you break your own heart. Okay. If you're putting in the work, it's going to happen. And if something doesn't happen, if it doesn't come the right way, right on time, it's for your protection. So you got to understand that when our time, we weren't ready. Maybe there's a lesson we needed to learn first so we could keep it. Because the difference is, so here's the best way I can explain it. When the devil gives us something, and I say that with air quotes, however you want to say it, when it's given to us before our time, which is never God given. If it's given to us before the right time, it's not God given, right? It's easier to lose. It's harder to maintain. It's something because we haven't learned the lessons to achieve it. The way you know that it was God-given 1000% is it cannot be taken away. You've learned all the lessons you understand along the way. And this is, which again, this question aligns really well with Virgo here. You're trusting that now. You're sitting in that void and you're understanding that that space is not harmful. It's not a bad space. You're in the space that you get to sort through and process. Okay, I want this so badly. But if I had it today, even though I want it right now, immediately I want it. If I had it today, could I maintain it? Could I keep it? Could I continue doing it without losing it? Would it change how I treat myself, people around me? Like, these lessons are what matter. And in that void is where you get to learn and understand them, right? You're learning to trust it. And then you know when it comes, you've earned it. You've put in the work, you've done all the things, and you've got the right mindset. You've learned the lessons to know that you can always keep it. That's your solid foundation. There's no cracks, there's no bumps, so even if you go 3 steps forward and something falls back, you never fall lower than here. God has made sure that foundation is so strong. You're unshakable. You cannot be moved. That's the difference. So if something doesn't happen, it means you missed a lesson. You didn't understand it, and that's okay because it's gonna keep coming. Trust me, it will keep coming until you learn it. Um, but Virgos have been gone through that cycle after cycle after cycle after cycle. Finally made it to the void. You made it to the stillness and the cocoon. And trust me, I know how long it takes to get to the void, to this cocoon, to that space. And it took cycle after cycle after cycle. And when you got there, now you're starting to understand what it is. Because before, every time you got there, you'd cycle back, you'd give in, you'd go back to all the things that felt comfortable, right? Because that's what you were used to. Now you're understanding that, yeah, that space felt uncomfortable, but in that space, I can create. In that space, I can build. In that space, I can learn and trust. You're understanding what that space means. You're very welcome. Sorry, I talk a lot while I'm doing these, and I get sidetracked a lot. Simone, hello, how are you? I'm really proud of you guys. This is a space that many people get to, and then they fall backwards. And I'm quite sure if you've made it to here, you've fallen back a couple of times. But what happens is each time you've reached this space, every single time, before you went backwards, it was uncomfortable. And this time, you've learned to sit in that uncomfortableness for just a moment. And now you're realizing what that moment means. And that uncomfortable now feels good. Now it feels, oh, this is my cocoon. Oh, I can build here. Oh, I can get things done. Oh, my mind feels free. I don't have that obligation and that shame and that guilt. You're not going back. You hit the void. You now understand what that is. And in that space, you're starting to get excited. You're literally trusting your inner temple. You're understanding that your connection with source is coming. This is where it starts, right? Nitro and Val the Gal, welcome. Gal a Rush, welcome. And Ashley, welcome. Dr. Yes, I love all my ladies here. I got to get you guys some jackets. Hold on. I just learned how to do this, so I'm a little slow on it, but you got to bear with me. I'll get there. There we go. And then, do I got Simone? Oh, yeah, I just got Simone. I'm slow, guys. I do get it together eventually, I promise. All right. Can I have an angel number for my Virgos for the month of February? Something to focus on, something that pops up and says, here's your little hug. You're doing it. Oh, 8. This is my number. You guys are doing good. You're in your manifestation space. You're slaying it. And you see what that says? Personal power. You're understanding what that is, and you're not giving it away anymore. That void, your understanding, is building you into your greatest self. And that little yuckiness, that you got past the fear, you understand what it is, and you're learning to use it to its absolute best. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, abundance, prosperity. Oh, it's personal power is the title. So understand that. Abundance, prosperity, strength, harmony, confidence, wealth, empowerment, and epic romance. All that is good and pleasant in your life is about to multiply. I need you to hear this. I need you to get excited for it. And I need you to understand the work that you've put in. Even if it felt yucky for a moment, that a little heavy, I swear, if you just keep going what you're doing, keep staying that path, keep hanging out, the way it's going to show out for you is going to blow your damn mind. It's about to multiply. Angels are sending this number to reassure you of the prosperity and well-being that lies ahead. Your surroundings will treat you with admiration and respect. Use your personal power for the greater good. We don't let someone's guilt, shame, fear, obligation hold us back anymore. We're sitting exactly where we need to. We know how to get back there every single time. Every single time. We understand our personal power. We've learned how to release the negativity. We sit in the positivity. And we're finding the balance between the heavens and the earth. Because we weren't sent here to earth to live in the heavens our whole life. And we weren't sent here to be on earth doing all the stupid things that get us in trouble. Yes, we had to learn. Yes, we had to learn. And I'm not saying this is bad, this is good. Everything in moderation. You're trusting your own self to the point where you know if it doesn't feel right, I just walk away. No questions asked. I trust myself. I know how to check in. Hi, Christian, how are you? You're learning that this space is a place of manifestation. You're learning how to be generous with yourself first, and that's how you manifest. You've been preparing for this for a very long time. You've been sitting in that preparation mode. Ooh, I'm excited. 888. And you're getting, this is what's happening. You've been building. Your hard work is paying off. In that void, when it seems confusing, I promise you, it's paying off. I'm sorry, I'm backwards to the computer. It's paying off. You're about to show the world the real you. Not the one with a mask, not the one that's not sure what's going on. Your real, authentic you. I'm good. I'm really, really good. And I'm really excited for Virgos. I'll tell you, when I came in, I felt a little yucky at first. And I was kind of feeling sad and heavy. And I'm like, what is going on? But I kept getting the nudge, keep going. And that's what it was. It's the void. So even if y'all are, when you're hearing me get excited and it still feels a little yucky right now, don't question it. Okay. Just sit with it for a moment. Don't run from it. Don't try to fill it. Just sit with it. And I promise you that if you can sit through it for just a few minutes, you're going to boost relationships through teamwork and compromise, collaboration. You're learning how to collaborate with the universe. If it feels really, really weird or awkward or scary, don't let the old stuff back in. You've passed the test. You're in the void. You're learning. You're learning how to collaborate with the universe. God, your angels, your spirit team, your ancestors, and they all matter. Your ancestors aren't showing up because they're showing up to say, hey, we failed this lesson. We did not do very well. We screwed up. Okay, we're being accountable and we want to help you so it stops with you. And when you listen, that's why they call you a generational curse breaker. Okay, you've put in the work. You've taken all of the shit that you didn't even need to take. You did it to heal your bloodline. You did it to heal your ancestors, to unchain them, right? You're doing God's work. I promise you, 1,000%. Welcome, Laura. And when you do that, you start to feel empowered. You show up for yourself. You trust yourself differently. You feel your spirit team. I literally talk to my people. Sometimes think I'm crazy, and I used to care, but I stopped caring. I say thank you so many times a day. Uh, when I see beautiful things happen, when I'm driving down the street, if I see an ambulance go by, sending out a prayer, whatever it is, whoever needs that miracle, it just happens. I don't even know. I didn't even realize I was doing it until, I had a couple dreams, and they were like, because I had this stigma and this obligation because I don't pray like hands down bowed my heads. I tried that and it never worked for me. I always felt uncomfortable, fake. But I talk to God all day, every day, and I'm like, "Thank you so much for this." And I understand that lesson now. And I have this conversation like I talk to you and you and you. Um, and I get the answers just the same, right? They're flashes, they're in different scenarios, but it's always meant for just me to understand. Just like your answers from your spirit team are always going to be meant for just you to understand. And you're understanding, you're connecting, you're learning how to collaborate. That's a big space. That's a big space. You're trusting your personal power. And you're understanding that every bit of that personal power did not come without work, hard work, devotion, commitment, struggle, unlearning, relearning. Unbelievable. I gotta go. I'll be back. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Um, you put in the work. Our ancient future. Yeah. And transformation again, just for the double up, in case you were unsure what was happening. And if you're not quite in that happy space yet, you're not sure how to understand it, please just trust me on this. Hang in there just a little bit longer. Sit with it just a little bit longer. It lightens, it gets easier, it gets better. And transformation isn't always easy. It does get easier as you go. Practice makes perfect, right? Uh, Even though I don't believe perfect exists. Um, Transformation is there and is constantly happening. And when you understand you've been putting in that work, that space is meant for you to see you, to connect, to learn how to collaborate. And you've been doing it. Wisdom from indigenous peoples, ancestors holding the keys for the future, ancient remembering, bloodlines. What was I just talking about? Like, what was I just talking about? I love the confirmation. Thank you, Spirit. How the past affects the future, a time to step up, timeless power symbols, activations for power shifts. Right now, the legends of the Lemurian civilization feel important, as the wisdom from this ancient time is relevant. The fall of Lemuria alerts us to the possibility that humanity may face if we live without respect for the earth. An ancient remembering is emerging. Many of the seed crystals and the knowledge they are imbued with are becoming unearthed. All those who can see a better future are not just dreaming. Their hearts and minds are hearkening to the core of the earth based traditions to bring through knowledge that will help shift this paradigm into balance. We're not looking for extremes. We've been living extremes. We're finding the balance. And when we walk in balance, everything is simple. Everything goes with the flow. Everything is easier to learn, to let go of, to trust. If it's meant for you, it will always find you. It is said that the Lemurians, my lord, my reading, who survived the fall, traveled the planet and ended up in the places where inspiring indigenous knowledge far outweighs what Western minds have come to prioritize. The ancient Egyptians, Mayans, Inca, Tibetans, Maoris, indigenous Australians, and Hopi are examples. These ancient knowledge keepers of earth and ether have been holding the key for a new world. We're being called back to our roots to acknowledge the infinite wisdom available when we drop to our knees in humble receptivity. To move gracefully forward, we must first stand in our power for the places, ethics, and conservation of what matters most. My Lord, sorry, my reading is not good today. When we heal ourselves, we often heal our ancestors also. I swear to God, I was just talking about that. The confirmation just blows my mind sometimes. It doesn't, because I already know, but it's like, I just love when it just aligns so perfectly with exactly what I'm feeling. It confirms the message I'm getting out, and that's my little hug from the universe saying, "Good job, girl. You're doing it right." And that's a wonderful feeling. As illuminated beings are ready to make change in the collective consciousness, we can sometimes take on what seems like more than our fair share of karma. We may be clearing some of the wounds from our ancestors. With this in mind, we can ease through the waves, allowing the guidance and empowered perspective to lead us to the greatest good. This card is imbued with activations for a new paradigm. You are now being showered with blessings in preparation for transformation. It may be turbulent at times, but you will grow and heal through the coming journey. Partake in activities that help you drop into a meditative state as often as possible. Use clearing tools to raise your vibration and don't get caught up in the destination. Focus on the journey and experience. Uh, you can navigate a situation you have no experience with by truly being present. Integrity and intuition will be your guide. When I tell you the confirmation, and if you just showed up and you missed it, I promise you, you can go watch the replay on my YouTube at Creativity Guides Me. The way that confirmation came in, that void, you're collaborating, you're learning how to collaborate with the universe, and you're trusting it, because we all have trust issues. I don't want to say we all do, but we all probably do. Okay, we've all been betrayed in some way, shape, or form. We've all struggled, and even though we pray to God all the time, we're doing all these things. But what if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not worthy? What if this? These little questions, stay at the back of your mind, and they actually block you from all of those things. That void, the weird, awkward void, cleared out that shit. I'm not not worthy. I am worthy. Wait, what if I speak that into existence? What if I start sitting in this void and actually start preparing, understanding that the universe is always going to be generous to me if I'm generous to myself, and I'm showing up with my integrity, and I'm ready to show up. And that's where my manifestation begins, right? It's all right here. Your collaboration with the universe, the connection made, absolute connection made. Now you're learning how to play with it, work with it, maneuver with it. Um, and it's a wonderful, empowering thing. And I promise you, when you understand your voice, you got to separate all that. You understand your voice, you're also going to understand if it's a programming, if it's some negative thing that creeps in. You're going to be like, no, that don't belong here. Because I promise you, God, your angels, your ancestors, your spirit team, they're never going to tell you, go kick someone's ass. Go do something stupid. They're going to ask you, is it led in love? Is it something for the highest, best good? Trust me, if someone needs to be handled, it just means they need to be led with love. And there's lessons that God in the universe will teach that we could never, on our best day, even come close to teaching them, right? They know exactly the right way. We don't wish for people to get karma. We don't wish for those bad things. We stand in our integrity and we trust. I learned the lesson. I took the lesson from that. I'm not going to hold resentment. And sometimes it takes a minute to sit with, and that's okay. You're giving yourself grace. You're understanding. You're allowed to feel that way. You're validating. You're understanding. You're processing. You're releasing all in that void, and you're not feeling bad about it. You're understanding that that's the process, and that's exactly what it's meant to do. And in that, what happens? You create freedom, you create space, you create that connection. And well, I know God would never tell me to do something horrible. So I know that's not their voice. That's some kind of programming. That's kind of something that doesn't feel right to me. That's definitely not my thought. So we're letting it go. You're learning and you understand. So now you can do it on the go. It's called Alchemy in Motion, which I'll be talking about in February and March. Trust me, I do a lot of work in the background. I don't just show up beautiful every day. I do a lot of work in the background, and I have my own emotional work, that kind of stuff too. And I check in with myself more than you ever know. But I also had to do it. So I had to walk through that fire so many times that I could explain it 1,000 times over. And it's not a one person, one hit wonder. It's not what works for me is always going to work for you. But what I teach is how to find that tool belt. how to put a tool in the tool belt, how to recognize what is a tool so that you're going to understand it along the way. And I only use these cards. I don't need the cards to tell you the stories. I can just connect and tell it just the way it is. But I use these cards because sometimes, for those of you that have been here, I can promise you, if you were here throughout it and you listen to what I was actually speaking about, and then when the cards came out, 1000% aligned with what I was saying. And it's meant to do that. So visually, you can see that it's not just me making some shit up out of thin air. It's me telling you that I've done the work. I've put in the work, and I don't have all the answers. But if you take this little bit of an answer and you put that into your life, it's a seed that will plant and expand, and you're going to build on that, and you're going to find answers to the ones that you specifically need. But now you have an actual tool, right? You have a tool belt that you're starting to fill up. And that's what that void is for. You had to learn so you could co-collaborate. Good morning, Fair. How are you? I hope you're doing well. So these are affirmations. These are my favorite. I'm running late. I was supposed to, my workshop starts in 4 minutes, but I like to talk too much. I'll be a couple minutes late. Sorry, guys. Splash and Domenica's welcome. Okay, I see grace and possibility in all of life's challenges. You don't see something as a hindrance anymore. You don't see that space as something that is going to hurt you. You don't see that emptiness as something that is meant as punishment. You see it as a space of grace. You see it as a place of peace, a place where you can collaborate and understand and process. It's a cocoon of safety for your heart, for your soul, and it's beautiful. I trust that my intuition is always leading me in the right direction. You're understanding. That's what that space, that's what that void, that's what that still point is for. And I'm pretty sure if you want to understand it a little bit more, if you go to my Fire and Flow series, I believe it's the still point is what it's called. And it talks about that void and understanding it. So if you're not quite there yet, you're understanding what it is, go watch that. Just go watch that because it will actually help you understand it and not run away from it. Because I don't want to see you get scared and fall back because it took so long to get there. It took so long to get here. And this is a space you deserve to be proud of, not scared of. I celebrate all the greatness in my life, every little bit of it, from the breath in my air to the trees outside to the fact that I have people around that care, the people that I care about. I get to have everything that I possibly ever want. I'm working for it every single day, and I know it's coming. There's a million things that you can be thankful for, not just one. And when that list gets bigger and bigger, you know you're doing it right. It's so nice to catch your stream. Oh, thank you. I know I'm running late. I'm going to be in trouble at my workshop, but I try to be on time. But sometimes the story comes how the story comes. And I'm not going to cut the message off to be worried about being late because we're understanding that that still point, that place of peace is something that you work very hard to get to. And when you work very hard to get to, you don't rush for anybody, not for anybody. Affirmation. These saved my life. When I tell you they saved my life, they saved my life. There were times in my life where I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror and think that I was worth anything. I've been through that much stuff. And I had to lie to myself. I had to lie to myself for months to be able to actually look back in the mirror and say it. And now I say it so much, and there's nobody that can tell me because I know what I overcome. And I earned every bit of it. And I don't care where you're at on your journey. If you take anything from any of the things I say, affirmation is one of the biggest tools you could ever put in your tool belt because immediately when you catch that negativity, when you catch it, right, it's there, that negative thought, that thing that's being projected, whatever it is, that culture, tradition, whatever it may be, but it's negative and it's there and you catch it. And immediately you replace it with an affirmation. I am great. I am learning. Everything is amazing. And we got this. As soon as you replace that, you double time it. You don't just become self-aware. You're saying, nope, you don't get to have that space in my brain. I'm going to replace that with something so amazing that you don't have room here. You're teaching your brain how to not just release it. You're noticing it. You're becoming self-aware. You're letting it go. And instead of keeping that space open and questioning where you can question yourself, you're affirming your greatness to the world. And you're saying, I'm going to be this. I am this. And if I'm not there yet, you're damn right. I'm not stopping until I get there. That is amazing. And that's why I speak on it like I do. Thank you so much, Simone. Um, I listen to myself and acknowledge my needs. I assert myself and retain my power. I am brave and gentle. I don't have to be afraid of others. I respect myself and am respected by others. Amen. That's a great affirmation. Listen to life. This goes right along with your collaboration, just so you know. That void is a good space. I am attentive to the world around me. Signs and symbols guide me to success. I listen and discover the way to the eternal. And by the way, when you start seeing 888 all over the place, you're going to be like, damn it, she's right. Damn it. That's the universe saying that's your personal power. You need to be proud of it. You've earned it. And we're proud of you. And the places, the way they're going to show up, you're going to be like, what the hell? I would never notice that number before. And all of a sudden it's popping up. I'm telling you, that's the hug from your angels. That's your ancestors cheering you on, riding behind you. When you see those movies where it's the one guy going to war and then he's got like 500, a million people behind him just plowing through. When you start walking through life and understanding that your ancestors, your angels, your spirit team, every single one of them have your back so strong that there's nothing that can stop you. Okay. You don't walk in, it's not just you. You have the power of God. You have the power of your angels. You have the power of your spirit team, your ancestors. You walk with a freaking army behind you. Does that change how you would walk through life? Does that change how you show up? Does that change how you show up for yourself? It should, right? Welcome, Destiny and Nav Mare. Oh, sorry if I butchered that respectfully. Okay, and then inner work. You've been doing the inner work. God brings me ideal situations for my inner healing. As I become aware of my weaknesses, I turn them into strengths. I direct my thoughts towards the light and see the positive side of every stage of my life. Darkness turns into courage, thus, I get stronger. That void was made for you. That still point was made for you to see you. Forget God, forget the angels, forget the spirit team, forget any of them. It was made for you to see you. And you're starting to understand that. You're not scared of it anymore. You're starting to like you. You're starting to say, no, I trust. I trust myself. I trust that when I listen to that feeling, that balanced feeling, it's me collaborating. I love me enough to listen, to check in, to process, to take that extra minute. That void has taught you your personal power. And in turn, you're learning how to show the world the real you, the most authentic you. Not the one behind a mask, not the one hidden by shame, guilt, fear, somebody else's opinion. The real you, the most amazing you. What nothing but up. You're healing generations. And when things seem tough, it's because God's never going to give you more than you can handle. And trust me, there's times when you're tired. But those times when you're extra tired, they're meant for you to let go. Not hold on. Don't cling to it. You've done everything you can. What happens next? If it's out of your control, it has to be out of your heart and mind. God, I've done everything. If there's anything else I need to do, please show me what it is. That's where the collaboration part comes in. You're learning what that void means. You're learning what it understands. You know how to get back there. And in that space is your personal power. This is a big thing. That void is the best place you could possibly be. And you now know how to get back to it every single time. You're not going back. You can't ever go backwards now. You understand what it is. And that uncomfortable feeling is now getting exciting because you know that I've made room. I've made space. What's the new exciting stuff that's going to come? I love you guys. I'm already late for my appointment. I have to hurry up and rush off. I'm sorry. But Virgos, be damn proud of yourself. And if you're not a Virgo and you ended up in this message and it aligned with you, It just means you've been doing the work, and there's maybe something you haven't been paying attention to, and you've been doing the work, but you haven't celebrated it about yourself yet. And maybe you need to take an extra moment and uh, get that foot rub, get that little extra celebration, that extra pat on the back. Buy yourself some flowers. Cook yourself a special dinner. Take yourself out to dinner. Celebrate the work that you've been doing. Because when we forget to celebrate it, it's easier to let it go. It's easier to let the world forget how amazing we actually are. And I'm not okay with that. And if I see it, I'm going to speak it every single time because um, it doesn't take anything to do that. And when you learn how hard people have worked to get to that point, you need to shout it from the rooftops. Yes, you do. Okay, I got to go. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you guys. After my meeting, I might be able to do one more. Fingers crossed. I like to talk too much. I'm sorry, guys. I love you. Thank you so much for coming. Bye, guys. I'm sorry I have to rush out like this, but I was not. I talk too much. It is what it is. I love you. Bye, guys. Oh, I gotta go.